Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the United Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm here, episode 4, with a very special guest at this time. He is Pogo the Clown. Pogo, thank you very much for meeting me here tonight.
Nice
We're at the United Pro Wrestling training headquarters, of course, in a little bit of a different location in front of our entranceway here. And
change it.
we've got a very special guest here. I guess he's going through a bit of an experience, let's call it, at the moment. But let's not jump the gun. Let's talk to Pogo the Clown and how you came to be at United Pro Wrestling. What started your journey here with us?
Well, I first saw United Pro Wrestling just as a poster in the local sort of town, Nambour. That's where it started out, the Moolabar pub. Saw a poster for them. Couldn't unfortunately go to the first show. I saw the second event. It was insane. Like, it was to see local wrestling at that sort of level. It was very cool as a fan. I then started my wrestling journey, obviously, about 3 months after that show.
So you attended one of our open tryouts?
Yeah.
Open tryout day?
Open tryouts, way back. This is going years. At this point, it's roughly around 7 years, I'm talking.
And wrestling years feels like 14 years.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling every 14 of those years now.
Yeah.
But from then, I started training for about a year before I even had a first match.
Which is pretty typical, I'd say. It takes...
It's average. Was probably a bit ready beforehand, but obviously with the caliber of shows and events that we run, I had to wait for my...
Not anyone can just
roll
in per se.
I had to do a full year of training as well as months and months on top of that getting ready for my match. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's not something everyone can do, that's for sure. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of heart.
100%.
But the training facility at United Pro Wrestling is top notch. Yeah. It always has been. And from there,
So, just to go back there quickly, is there anyone sort of around your debut time who we might see on the shows now who are also making their way in at that point?
Well, I started probably just a bit after the Gospel.
Uh-huh.
He was actually debuted at the first show I was helping out at, and to see that live was also very interesting.
He's gone on to have a very successful career here at
very successful, and also we've butted heads a few times.
More than once, I would say.
And I can see a lot more happening in the future. The Gospel, like Gabriel for sure, Ricky Rembrandt, he was around for a long time. Like
he helped kick open the doors here at United Pro Wrestling.
I always considered when I first saw Rick to be sort of like what I wanted to be and sort of a goal I could reach.
But like the grandfather version of...
he's been around for a while for sure. He's like, you could say grandfather. At this point, probably just fathered. Give it a few more years, it would call it.
He's still got a few more in him.
Yeah. But I always considered him to be sort of like the pinnacle of what I want to reach. So to now be able to not only have matches against him and have matches with him.
That featherweight division?
In the featherweight division, it's always been something that I was actually at the pinnacle of. It was my first match was the start of the featherweight division. So to see it grow, to have now great champion like Bones, up and comes like Chupacabra, admittedly and begrudgingly, I do have to say Draven as well. You can't deny.
I can't deny. You can't deny what he's done in the ring.
That I can't deny. I can deny his attitude. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
He can definitely get a lot more, I'd say less mean. And the things he's done to Bones, especially.
Yeah. He has gotten very personal at times, but it's also led to a very successful career for him. He's only just recently lost that featherweight title.
Look, I'm not going to deny that. He has talent, he has skill, for sure. Not to say I haven't beaten him a couple of times. He has beaten me, admittedly, cheating. But we'll strike that away from...
a W in the column's a W.
Look, you can admit that, but Draven, dude, don't have to cheat, okay?
He doesn't. I have said this. I've said perhaps maybe the high guns could be holding him back from a heavyweight title chance. I don't know, because obviously his stablemate Tommy, he is the heavyweight champion, United Pro Wrestling champion at this time, and I've said a guy like Draven, so I don't feel like he's a guy that needs a group, a faction of people behind him. He's that good in the ring, but let's move on from Draven now, and the featherweight division, which of course you've been a fantastic part of and helped grow here at United Pro Wrestling. But when we saw Pogo come into United Pro Wrestling, we saw a very I don't know how to say it. It's a
different. You could say different.
It's strange. It's different. It was the Circus of Tragedy that was formed with yourself, 13.
Yeah. Look, back then when,
of course, and Jinx.
Jinx did come along a little bit later. She wasn't at the initial Circus of Tragedy, but it's a bit of a sore wound, as you can admit. Recently losing to 13 was not ideal.
Let's not jump the gun there, but let's talk about, you came in and I'm gonna say a guy like 13, would you admit he took you under his wing? He brought you in or
look,
would you argue that point?
I can't argue the point. For the first 3-ish years.
It was years. You guys.
The Circus of Tragedy. It was
tag team champions. You supported him when he was heavyweight champion. He supported you on your quest to become a featherweight champion.
Looking back, I wouldn't be too sure about that. It does seem a lot more that, looking, I guess, under a different lens now, everything that's happened, you can probably guess that I was in it for 13 a lot more than he was in it for me. It seemed a lot more now, looking back, that he was more concerned about winning his own titles, whether it was as a tag team champion or a heavyweight champion, and me and Jinx and the Circus of Tragedy was more just tools to get him there, as opposed to friends like me and Jinx considered him. So
okay, so we covered. You do admit he took you under his wing, he brought you in, and you guys did do extremely well as a tag team.
He did teach me a lot as well of how to.
So you do admit that?
I can admit it was.
He helped elevate Pogo the Clown.
He is a guiding hand in the career of Pogo the Clown for sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to distance myself a bit.
Okay.
Because as much as he had a part in it, I do also feel like he was holding me back a bit now. Like I said, all the times I tried to go for the featherweight title, it didn't see a lot of 13 in my corner. Saw a lot of Pogo in 13's corner when he challenged the titles.
So we're talking about Undisputed Glory just a few months ago. 13 had a heavyweight championship match against Tommy the Gun Winslow, because we, of course, won our over-the-top rumble the month before that, so he became number one contender. And the biggest show of the year is Undisputed Glory for us. Only followed closely by over-the-top rumble, so 2 very big shows in a row, which he has headlined both of those in a row, and he wasn't able to get it done against Tommy the Gun Winslow. And I think everyone in that room that night thought 13 was going to get it done.
He told me himself that, win or lose, it was going to be the Circus. And he told me that with us, with Jinx, with Pogo, 13, there's no way he's going to lose. He had me convinced, he had the fans convinced. Everyone thought that was 13's night.
And
100%.
As we talked about with Draven before, it was the hired guns that, of course, kept that from being a one-on-one heavyweight championship match. They got themselves involved, they came out to the ring, and of course yourself and Jinx were there to try and level the playing field. Again, you're in 13's corner.
He had his back, yeah.
You had his back. Ultimately though, Tommy the Gun Winslow remained our heavyweight champion and still does to this day. And as far as I can tell, what happened after that match was the last morsel of humanity in 13 leaving. He destroyed you. He attacked you. He powerbombed you.
He sent me to the hospital.
He sent you to the hospital.
He gave me... Look, to people who out there who aren't really familiar with the dangers of wrestling, or I guess concussions, who are a bit more in the vein, he gave me a grade 3 concussion. I couldn't wrestle. I couldn't work out. For the first couple of days, I could barely leave my bed. I was in hospital all night after that. What he did was just betrayal at its finest point. Like, it was like throwing all the years that we had as Circus of Tragedy just away for just because.
And it was such a shock to everyone in that room. Of course, I've got one of the best seats in the house at the commentary desk, and I couldn't believe, and I don't think anyone else at that time could believe what they were seeing. He absolutely...
It is just...
there was hatred.
I was there, obviously. I can't even think, knowing the guy for the amount of years that I have, what was even going through his head. I can't even think what's going through his head now. And there was a time that I thought that we were on the same level. Like, we were tag team champions for a year. The longest reigning tag team champions. We had to be on the same level. I thought that the years we spent together, the years we spent tagging together, beating everyone, beating like the Sanctum, the Taylor Boys, the High Guns, even to win the titles. I thought that meant something more than just a powerbomb, more than just a concussion, more than just what he did to me that day. Like, I can't believe that all those years were just thrown away like that. Honestly,
and I think it's one thing to lose your cool in a moment, but he's now gone on to make a point of it at 2 or 3 events in a row where you can't go out and have a match without him turning up and attacking you. Or, as we saw at our last event, you had a match with him finally to even...
I had him.
To get it all out in the open, to just have it out, have a match, throw hands in a ring, and even though the match was said and done, he still felt the need to attack you again. It's almost like he's not going to stop until... And I don't want to say it because the fans, no one here wants to see it, but it's almost like he won't stop until you don't exist here anymore. You don't want to come back. You can't come back.
I think for sure that he's trying to just erase.
Is he trying to erase Pogo the Clown? I mean, I don't want to try and get in his head, and I don't want to be inside 13's head, and I don't want to try and guess what's in there. But what do you think he's trying to achieve?
I think that after the 4 years we spent together, seeing how much that we've grown as a tag team, how much I've grown as a competitor in the ring, I think that he might be scared that I will one day eclipse it. Because he's been doing this a fair amount of time. He's been doing this...
He's been doing it a lot longer than...
probably anyone else in UPW currently.
And let's be honest, he's also pushing 135 kilos at 6'4". He's twice the size of you, and he seems determined to just completely erase you. Is that... So you're trying to say that...
I think he knows
he's concerned that you may eclipse... The name 13 may fall below Pogo's.
If I had this long and honestly decorated career, being the first United Pro Wrestling champion, being at the time almost the longest United Pro Wrestling, that title has since been changed, but to someone who has had so much ring experience, with so much great matches, so many titles won, everything like that, I think, and I am just guessing here from what I know of the guy, from what he's done to me, it's very personal. I think that he may not necessarily be scared, but he knows that given time, his legacy will be taken over by Pogo the Clown. It won't just be the Circus of Tragedy. He's trying to make it about himself. He's trying to make it about 13 being the greatest in UPW. But I think that given time, he knows that Pogo will become greater than 13. I can't attest to what he's thinking.
If there's anyone that's gonna know how he thinks, it's got to be the guy that's travelled with him and trained with him and tagged with him for years and years. And
I would hope so, but given his behaviour, his attitude, the things he's done, trying to attack Jinx alone sort of shows me that he's probably not the same 13 that I knew. and to see that isn't the best, because I knew what we can accomplish together. To see him try and throw it all away is devastating.
And he has. He's thrown.
He's trying. It's not just 13. There's been an air of people who are trying to run UPW, not just the GM. People like the Sanctum think they own the place. The hired guns now that Tommy Winslow has the heavyweight champion. Now that Tessa Armstrong has been consistently defeating every woman that gets thrown at her, that they think they own the place.
And that, of course, culminated at our last event, where we saw the GM make our next main event at Aftermath Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 5-on-5 elimination tag team match where, although it's not named, it seems very much it's Team Pogo versus Team 13. And let's just name the 10 names that are in there, because this is a huge main event. I don't know how it's going to be contained to one ring.
It's a lot of attitudes boiling over. This has been coming honestly for a long time. We've had.
So let's name your team. Who's come to your aid? Which they came to your aid at after your match with 13 at Aftermath Part 1. They all came out to your aid. So we've got Pogo.
Myself, yes. We have the featherweight champion Bones.
Yep.
There's a lot of bones to pick with people like Draven, like their guns.
Yep, so we've got Pogo.
We've got
Bones.
Ricky Rembrandt, a veteran like himself, and Heat Stevens, who have been honestly cheated out of a lot of things by the Sanctum.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people there. Jesse.
And Jesse Love. So that
man
rounds
made out
out.
of cast iron himself. He came to my aid. He's honestly a great dude. I can see a lot of championships in that guy's future.
I feel like Jesse Love is almost got to be thanked for this match in a way, because he's the one that has pulled the GM aside and said enough is enough. The loonies are running the asylum and we need to get some.
It's definitely come to the point of like.
It's a boiling point where it's like guys like the Bones, the Jesse Loves, the Yeats that are trying to do everything by the book, do everything right.
By the fans
It's
too.
been ruined show after event after event after event by guys like the High Guns and the Sanctum. So let's name that team that'll step across the ring from you guys at that main event. We've got 13 obviously heading up.
I've got my eyes on him for sure. He may have beaten me last event at Aftermath Part 1, but I can guarantee that I'm not done with him. Okay? I'm not going to stop until I can either stop him completely, or I can just prove to him that he's not as good as he thinks he is.
So what you're going to keep going till it takes what it takes.
Until I can put him in the ground on the mat for 1, 2, 3. Until I can prove to him, I'm not going to stop. Okay.
Okay. So we've got 13 who will be across the ring from you.
We've got the Sanctum.
Which are the Gospel and BK Calloway.
I've also had a lot of history with them in a tag team. So seeing them, specifically with 13, who we have had many matches against, is a bit cutting.
It's an interesting.
Like to see that he's thrown in with that sort of lot.
He's been on the opposite side of the ring to them so many times to now team up with them. And then of course they're going to be joined by the High Guns, which are our heavyweight champion Tommy the Gun Winslow and Draven, which are. Again, I thanked Jesse Love before for perhaps making this match, but if there's two guys that have pushed the GM to make a match like this, it's those two guys that push the envelope, break the rules.
The things that Tommy Gunn especially has done to Jesse and Jazzy are horrendous. So I'm not honestly surprised that it reached this point that Jesse had to physically take the mic from GM to call him out to be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
He's
had enough.
The GM himself has had enough, sure, but he's only one man.
Yeah.
Okay, we have had to deal with these people like the Sanctum, BK, Gospel, the High Guns, Tommy, Draven, and 13 running amok basically throughout the entirety of UPW, not just with me, not just with Yeaton, Ricky.
Top to bottom.
Injured Stockman. They're the reason that Ricky had to help Yeet out, because like the things that they've done, the things they have a history of doing. The GM is a great dude. He's very forthcoming. He's very stern, but he is only one man. It has taken 5 of us to even just control these guys. So having all 10 of us in a ring is definitely going to be something you don't want to miss. Because
100%.
we are going to
agree.
blow the roof off Mansfield Tavern. Whether it's... I'm predicting we're going to take out all of them.
It's going to be a 5-0 win, isn't
It's
it?
going to be a 5-0 win, for sure. There's no way that people like Ricky, like myself, like Jesse, like you, like Bones, are going to go down without any sort of fight.
And it feels like the guys on your side of the ring, on your team, it feels like a united front. It feels like a group of guys that have all banded together and said, we're sick of it, we're going to do something about it. And I'm looking across the ring at, you said 13. He doesn't have any friends here at UPW.
To see those groups of people together, I don't see guns hanging out with 13.
I give you guys a definite, I'm going to say advantage, Team Pogo. If we can call it Team Pogo.
Well, it's not official. Jesse, yes, he is definitely the voice. But I can say that it's more Team UPW versus Team
Anti-UPW.
Anti-UPW, if anything. But
yeah.
I can guarantee it will definitely be a united front between us. We will be definitely banding together. We have coming up with game plans. We're getting together. We're going to be practicing as much as we can to bring our heads together of the things that the Saints have done, High Guns have done, that we know of 13, and come up with a formulated strategy to do our best to get that 5-0 win.
Well, I don't think there's much more to say other than we need to watch the main event at Aftermath Part 2. That is, of course, at the Mansfield Tavern. But to get your tickets, you go to unitedprowrestling.com.au. Make sure you get them before they run out. Again, that huge 5-on-5 elimination tag main event happening very soon. Pogo, I wish you the best in your quest to stop 13, whatever you have to do to
any means necessary.
Any means necessary. I wish your team the best of luck.
Look, I'm going to say to all the fans out there, you want to get the gold class tickets straight away, because if you can get those front row seats, it's not going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Like, the action at a UPW event is honestly tremendous. Yeah. But to have a 5-on-5 elimination tag team match is probably the biggest thing that we've ever done. Biggest thing that's ever happened in UPW. Yep. So you want to be there, front and center, front row. If you can't, general admission's fine as well. As long as you're there, to see the 5-0 sweep, that Team UPW, Team Pogo, whatever you want to call it, will do. Put it on the betting slip. 5-0 to Team Pogo. 5-0. Or Team UPW, as we coined it here tonight. Of course, like I said, get your tickets now, unitedprowrestling.com.au. Pogo, the best of luck. Thank you for talking with me tonight. Good luck with 13, and good luck with everything in your UPW future. It's nice to talk to you.